Yes, Christmas is next week.
Hi, how is everybody? That was my ho 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 Santa. Sorry. Wow, it's December, and here we are on Saturday morning, and I'm Judy at Artistic Artifacts in Alexandria, Virginia, and welcome to everybody who is here joining us today. We are going to announce the winners of our quilts to raise money for leukemia, and hopefully we'll have a number on the amount that we raised. Sharon is working. I don't know, man. I think I lost a month. It must have been the month I was in India. I totally have lost a month. Kyle does not feel sorry for me at all.
World's smallest violin.
World's smallest violin, yes. So anyway, I cannot believe it's December. All right, so quick babbling, Judy, and talk. We have today an extensive array of some options for some hand stitching, which we'll get into with after we make our announcements. And okay, Vanna has the call, right? Sharon's got him. Okay.
Randomized twice.
Randomized twice. Wow.
Randomized out of the spreadsheets and randomized in the listing and randomized the numbers that were selected. So.
Oh my good. And she didn't. I like have no clue whose names are in here. So.
Weren't you just in the middle of a thought before she handed you that?
I don't know what that thought is now. It's gone. Hopefully it'll come back. Oh, we were talking about what we're going to talk about after we do the announcement for the quilts. So I have hand stitching. I'm supposed to talk about threads. We talked about machine threads last week, so we'll talk about hand stitching threads, and it's focusing right on WonderFil. We'll do painter's threads on another day. We also have a YouTube video talking about painter's threads and the various different types, which is our other really big thread line that we have for hand stitching. But today we're going to talk about WonderFil products and stitching and show you some projects and just kind of give you some ideas about the differences in threads. So that's what we're doing today. After we announce winners, okay, and I'm randomizing how I'm going to announce these. Okay, so Sharon, do you want to? We're gonna do this one first. Algorithm.
You want me to hold it up?
Yeah, would you?
As long as I can hold it up over my face.
Oh, come on. You even have makeup on today. All right. So this is algorithm.
Hi.
There you go. And this is the winner is Terry Carlton. Wow, Terry. So Terry, what we need you to do, congratulations, you won this quilt, and thank you again for supporting our fundraiser, is we need you to email sales@artistic-artifacts with your shipping address, and we will ship it to you if you are outside the area. If you would like to come in and pick it up, please tell us that as well. So this is Algorithm, and it was won by Terry Carlton. Congratulations. Congratulations. All right. All right. All right. All right. Crazy Heart.
That's little enough for you to hold by yourself.
Okay. Crazy Heart. So this is one that I made, and oh my goodness, it even has a label on it. Wow, that's amazing. So this one, the winner is Tina Wojcik, and who lives locally, we know. So Tina, you won this. Thank you again for your donation. So that's Tina's. And okay, this one is Forest Retreat. So this one is is Lisa Vienna. Am I saying that right? Vienna. Vienna. Lisa. Okay, Lisa, congratulations. You won our quilt here, Forest Retreat, and we'll need you to email us and let us know if you'd like to pick it up or where we should mail it to. All right.
Also, good morning to everybody, and to those of you tuning in from around the world, thank you for making the time. I know time zones are
a little tricky.
Yeah.
Okay. This one is here. So we have some sari ribbon, some 3-dimension, and Kiko. The winner is Catherine Sykes. S-K-Y-L-E-S. Catherine, again, congratulations. And Skiles. Didn't say that right. Skiles. That's why I spell it. You have won the Kiko quilt. And we would like you to let us know if you're going to pick it up or if we're going to mail it and where we're going to ship it to. So that will be for you. Thank you for your contribution. That's awesome. Okay. Then we have our Hairy Agoon. So this is, the Hairy Agoon is a panel, a petite panel, and it has some really cool beading on it. So this is, we did this sample for a book, Kristen Brown's book, I think, when she was doing beading and beading. Oh! This is, the winner is Grace Robb. Grace, congratulations. Thank you for your contribution, and we appreciate your supporting our fundraiser. And the last one is our Cadence Court. That was Piece by Dudley, and then this also has custom quilting on it, so it's quite beautiful. And, oh, okay, the Cadence Court is won by Judy Como. C-O-M-E-A-U. Judy, I know you, but I still can't say your last name right. Congratulations on your win, and thank you again, everybody, for supporting us in our fundraiser. We have decided we're doing stockings next year, so just be aware that we will introduce our stockings in maybe August when we do, or July when we do Christmas in July, and then we'll have them available in November for the same similar thing that we do with the donations. But thank you so much for supporting us. I know that we raised $800 that was directly paid to the Leukemia Society. Do we know how much we raised with?
I'm sorry, I didn't have that.
I know, we'll get it for you. We should, but and then Artistic Artifacts will match the contributions that you paid, so that the business will match 100%, and it will all go to the Leukemia Society. And that was our fundraiser for this year. So we'll post the amount when we get a chance, but thank you again, everybody, for supporting us. We know you get asked a lot by a lot of people, so thank you for those of you who were able to help us. So, any questions? Did we have any winners watching?
No, actually.
No winners watching?
No one said anything.
Oh, okay.
So we've got some people tuning in internationally, like I said, and everyone's just kind of loving the quilts.
All right. Good, good, good. Okay. So, what we're going to talk about today is hand stitching thread. We have a lot of threads in our store because we like threads. We're thread goddesses. I had a different word, but Liz corrected me and said I'm a goddess. I'm going with that. WonderFil specializes in pearl cottons. They do produce all of the pearl cottons for Sue Spargo. And I know that there's another artist in there that they're working with on colorways. Patty, who does a lot of wool work as well. She's developed some colors and some collections for them as well. So, but that is the main thing. So I actually don't use floss anymore. I use the WonderFil pearl thread. And what I'm going to show you is a little bit about the sizing. So let me clear a space here. Of course, I have purple on purple. So this is a size 3. So this is apply. So there's more than one to this thread, meaning there's more than one thread. All right, this is, did I get a 5? I hope I got a 5. Okay, this is a 5. So, and this is an 8. So as you can see, the lower the number, the thicker the thread. And size 8 is what you will find in all of these boxes. So when they do these gift boxes, combo boxes, these are all size 8, and it's a mixture of colors. So these Eleganza boxes, all of those are going to be size 8. I use size 8 the most. I buy them on the spool. So these are spools, and all the spools are color coded based on the size of the thread and whether it's a solid or a variegated. Okay, and these bags were designed by Sue Spargo, and they're made because this is her thread that she sells. We sell it as well because it's a wonderful product. And so you can see that the spools will tell you what size it is, and they're double-sided. So they are online, and they're a clear zipper sack, 4 pockets. They're $32.99, but those are really nice. And I actually, as I had been going to markets and things, I was able to get samples of size 12. Well, size 12 thread I can use in my machine, or I can hand stitch it. So that is, I have another pack that's all my size 12, and it's on these smaller spools. Size 12 now is sold in spools like this. So this is size 12. And so what we mean about, so when you're a quilter, you do a lot with 50s and 40 weights. So that's kind of the middle, as we said. Then if you go down this way to a 12, it's going to be a thicker thread. If you go up this way towards an 80, it's going to be a thinner thread. And a 100 is a thinner thread. So those are typically thought of as machine. But this is a size 12 thread, and let me show you what it looks like when you're stitching it. So this is my one of my fabric books that we launched on a different Facebook Live. So this is a size 3. I wanted it to be kind of chunky, and I couched it. So I had a size 3 that's big, and I couched it with a size 12 that's like a sewing thread here. Okay, this here is stitching with a size 12. So you can see, you know, when you look at the thread on its own, you're like, wow, that's kind of thin. I'm not sure I want to do that. But when you're stitching with it, it really does actually make a decent impact. So this is the hand-stitched one. you can see this is size 8 here, and then this is the size 12. So the 12 is, well, these colors just happen to be pretty bright. This is machine stitched with a size 12. So sometimes it's good to know that it can go either way. These I wanted to be kind of chunky. So let's see, this one looks to be a size 3. I can tell you that the secret to really nice French knots is using a size 3 thread, because it makes it nice and big and chunky without really having to use a lot of thread, because the thread is a big size. So I do that a lot. Now the other thread that is can be used, and I don't have, is, and we did this in Christmas in July. So this is Alana. So this is a wool thread. I know some people consider this a hand stitching thread. I actually liked using it in the machine for decorative threads, but it definitely can be hand stitched. Here's some of the wool with as French knots that I put there, whereas this is machine stitched. And then if you can see a comparison, this is going to be a pearl. It's going to be, I think it's a size 5. So, you know, just as a comparison of how the threads act and what the difference is going to give you an idea. And I know I don't do this a lot, but experimenting with it is, I'm getting better as I get older, and to experiment and to try it. So what does this decorative stitch look like in a size 12? But what does it look like in a hand stitch, like a leaf or you know, you commonly use that, I don't know what the right one is, the twig one. I think of that as an applique stitch. So a pattern stitch for what you're going to do with, if you're doing crazy quilting. You know, you're going to be using these pearl hand threads, but you also can supplement it with machine threads. So one is not excluded from the other, I guess is what I'm trying to say. The other thread that we have is, this is a rayon. This is definitely a hand stitching thread. And then we have Dazzle and Glamour. So these are all hand stitching threads as well. Now Glamour can go in the machine, but this is definitely used for hand stitching. Has a little bit of color, has a little bit of metallic flash. It's a great one to use, works really nicely through the needle.
Oh, we have a question.
Okay.
For the book.
Yes.
Where'd it go? Were the embroidery and embellishments done on one side and then both sides sewn together? And how are the pages binded to be a book?
Okay. So I have Peltex.
Oh, it looks like someone's posting a link.
Okay, I think that we had done it in a previous one.
Yeah.
So I do one side and then the other side. So one side I use a lot of hand stitching. It goes through the Peltex. Usually the other side is a lot of fusing. So, because that's how I finish it. And each page is done individually and then attached with ribbon. So we did do a previous Saturday morning about this. So look in our YouTubes. If you still have some questions, let me know. But it's using Peltex, and I do one side and then another. And if you can see the ribbons here, I've sewn just the ribbons down here to attach them to create my pages. So hopefully that makes sense.
So many people ask about your book. You've got to do a class.
I like these books. They're really a lot of fun. So, okay, so the thread, as I said, it's very basic. Now, when you're using floss, which I don't use a lot, and mostly floss is sold by DMC, you have 6 strands that you can pull to determine the size of your thread. What I like about the pearl cotton is that it is actually twisted and goes round, whereas floss has a tendency to go flat. Maybe what you want, that's fine. Just know that there are some differences. So this was a sample that we did for Valentine's Day one year, and these are cut out hearts from wool, and we have pieces of sweaters and things. So this is what I'm talking about, the French knots with a size 3. So these are really big beefy knots. They look really great with not a lot of frustration as far as I can tell. These were some coils that we did. Again, I think those are really nice and a thicker thread, so I would go towards a 5 and a 3 versus an 8. An 8's going to look totally different. We did pretty well with the French knots. And then this was I'm not saying the name of the stitch right, but you wrap around your needle to get this coil here and then go down. So it's the length of your thread, has this wrapped around it, and it gives that kind of dimension. It's a lot of fun. So there's those. This is the size 12 also, so you can see that's there. I did a lot with the size 12 here. I swore I was never gonna hand stitch with sewing machine thread, but I do. I have to say I do. Liz and Ruth are laughing. So this is again another size 12. The other thing that yes.
Question, bullion stitch?
Bullion stitch. There's a special, yes, that's the one. It's similar to the bullion stitch. I think that's right. And there is a special needle for it. I forgot to grab it. This is, tulip needles, chenille are my favorite needle. That's the one that I use the most. So we have needles here, chenille, and then there's a bullion needle. So what that means is that the bullion is the same size all the way through, including the eye. Whereas a chenille is going to have a larger eye and a smaller shaft. So there are some differences in that. Know Your Needles is a great book that we like. It's a little pocket-sized book. It's very helpful. It has machine needles and hand stitching needles. We preach about this quite a bit, that it's a great book to have to explain some of the needles and the best way to use them. So if I don't know, I generally don't do a lot with kits. I'm always trying to think outside the box and stretch myself. So one of the things I have found is that I like to use the wood blocks. So the wood blocks are currently, oh, Sharon got us bullion. Great, thank you. The wood blocks are currently 10% off. We don't put them on sale very often, as well as the paint. But these motifs here can be printed on our hand-dyed Indian cotton and can be stitched. So again, this is more than about thread, but if these are motifs, if you're having a question about, well, what should I stitch, you can stitch a motif. So here's this one. We did a book for Kaif with his stitches, which is here. That was also on another Facebook Live, and it's also in our YouTube channels, showing you how I use that. And this is the kit, the Kaif kit. Kaif inspired wood blocks come in a small and a large kit. And as I said, they're currently 10% off as long as there's inventory. So whatever's in stock is what we're selling. And when we've sold out, we're not back ordering it. All right, so these are bullion needles. Let me see. And they tend to be longer so that you can make this stitch longer if you want. And they are the same, so let's see if you can show how long that is. See, this is how long these needles are.
It's in the glare.
Is it?
Oh, there we go.
Okay. and the wrapping, it's important that the eye is the same length as the shaft or same width as the shaft so that you can pull it through. Whereas when you try to do these stitches with a chenille needle, your eye is larger. So
Let's see if I can't get it.
is it?
Can you move it just a little bit? I was trying to get it in the eye.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
I get the idea.
So this is definitely a needle to have in your hand stitching stash. I think that it's a really good one. Now, some people work with milliners. Now, Kaif gave us some collection of needles and containers in a little bit of a different way. And so what he has done is that he's picked his. He has embroidery needles here and a little container. So this container is kind of fun. And what I like about these is that it slides. So you can put your needles in here, you can put a couple spools of thread in here, and if you have, you know, if like you're stitching some beads or you have some other things, it all can go in here, and it's very compact to carry with you. And who doesn't love a little tin? So these are available in embroidery needles, small and large, and then milliner's needles. We have lots and lots of customers that work with milliner's needles when they're doing their handwork. So that's an option. And then we have these cool pins that are here too. So these are a great idea as well. This is another thing that I think is kind of fun for hand stitching. This is going to catch the needle and hold on to it because it's magnetized. So these are great. They're buddy boxes. I use them all the time. I carry this with me everywhere. All right, so we've talked about the thread. That was the quickest part. Oh, I did not talk about WonderFil. So WonderFil is perfect for paper piecing, English paper piecing that's done by hand. So because it is so thin, you can hand stitch that and you are not going to see your seams. So this is what's recommended for English paper piecing. That's available in these little mini spools or really, really big spools. Again, this is a thread that you can use in your sewing machine or your hand stitching. So that's the last thread. Glamour I talked about, Dazzle I talked about. This is really my main thread that I use. So again, what am I going to hand stitch? What am I going to use? Well, we do have by WonderFil these pieces, these little kits, which I think would be just great for someone who wants to start learning how to hand stitch. So this one I did was the butterfly, and you can see I hand stitched it and then I went even a little bit further and went beading on it. But there's multiples, there's birds, there's ladybugs. There's different colorways on this guy, but this is a great piece. You can do all the stitching on it and then apply it to something else. I like to do it that way. I don't always have a project intended, but I am gonna try. I can do my hand stitching and then I can attach it to a book later. I can put it on a purse. I can do it on a jacket. So that's all that kind of thing. Yes.
Do you have is there a book from the shop that you could recommend for hand stitching?
We do have a couple of books. So this one, Christian Brown has written multiple books. She has done some really great stitching. That is one. Modern hand stitching, and we're currently out of stock, I've just found out, is my favorite book that I go to first. Sue Spargo has another book that's really nice about different ways of using stitching. So there's lots out there.
Oh, I didn't see this. Looks like hand stitching needles.
Hand stitching needles Tulip is my first choice.
Yeah.
Kaif is my second choice. This is another really cool inspirational book. We were really happy when the company reprinted this. and it talks about artists and what they're doing and some of their artwork, stitching. It's a wonderful, this is just a great inspirational book that we have. Wool tends to be more forgiving than, say, stitching on cotton. So there's all these little wool pre-packs. We like to take wool and wash it so it folds up, or sweaters like you saw in the samples, and stitch on those. You know, it's not, it's, you know, pattern on pattern on pattern is really what I like. So then the next thing I wanted to show you, and this is kind of an experiment. Last week we did machine threads, as I told you, and I filled this hoop with some what's called wash away, and I have some mistakes because I'm not sure what I'm doing, and I get called away and the thread breaks and then I go back. So I had some places that were not filled. This one, so this is machine thread here. So what I've started, I didn't consider this a dead one. I just considered this, I'm going to hand stitch and fill this in. So the way that this is on the CAFE 770 and the embroidery module, and they have some gridding that's done because his stitches are showing what hand stitches look like. So I have the grid in there that's going to hold it. And this is all my hand stitching. So I hand stitch these, I hand stitch that. And then I did some French knots on this one, and I left a little bit of this tearaway in there, so there's that. So what I'm going to do with these is these are going to be my artist trading cards for the spring. So I just left this, I stitched it down, but so you can mix the two of them, I guess is what I'm saying, is I didn't want to consider this a total fail, so I'm trying to fix it so I can use it. And it's just another way that you can complement your machine stitching with the hand stitching. Don't think of things as either or. Think of it, oh, this would work and this would work. I combine, you know, motifs like this one that we showed you. This one is machine stitched, this one is hand stitched. What if? What if you did a motif two different ways to see what it would do? What if? So, and that's what I mean by experimenting, is to try that. A lot of times you'll be like, this can't possibly work. But what if I try it? What if I experiment with it? What if? And that's always what I think of. What if I make this part of this stitch a little bit longer? What if I make it a little bit shorter? What, you know, does it have to be exactly as they show me in the book? What can I do to it to change it and make it mine? So those are some questions for you to ask as you're working and hand stitching and enjoying the process of hand stitching.
Can you tell us why you prefer chenille, sorry.
That's okay.
Over embroidery needles?
I can thread it. I can thread it. It's great. And I didn't show you my really cool, this is my tool. I love this. This is, so because I am getting old now and my sight does go. So this is a magnifier, and I can thread my beading needles by putting my needle under here and threading it. I find the eye on the chenille needle is larger. It really gives you a chance to thread it. I think I forgot stuff today at home. I know I have a couple of, I had 2 quilts, I guess I walked out without them, that I'll post them later when I get home to show you where I've actually done hand stitching and quilted it and gives, again, combining it.
And you mentioned Milners before, but...
Milners, I don't use those very much. So here's your chenille needle.
Are Milners a kind of needle?
Yes, Milners are a kind of needle. That is a good question. There's like a million different kinds of needles. So, but this is chenille, so you can see the size of this opening to be able to thread. I find these are the easiest needles to thread. I've eliminated that frustration of not being able to get my needle threaded. So if you can't get your needle threaded, go to the next size up. Go to a larger needle. It shouldn't take you more than 3 tries, according to Ruth and Liz. And and if you have to pull through your fabric, your needle is too small for the thread that you're using. Those are 2 really important things that Liz and Ruth taught me that I think have made a really big difference in my ability to enjoy hand stitching. So, what other questions are there?
People love the what if. What size chenille needles?
Chenille needles go from 18, which is the largest one, which you would use for a purl 3, to 24, which you would use for a size 12 thread, and an 8 thread. So we have all of those sizes online and in the store, so they're available to you. And there is a mix pack, so we have a few mix packs left.
And the yo-yo magnifier is just newly back in stock.
Yes.
It sells out very quickly.
Because I love it. I absolutely love it. I carry it with me all the time. This baby went to India with me. It's very small and it's a very mighty. So
yeah, fits in your hand.
Fits in your hand. So I think it's really great. Okay, any other questions?
Leslie, our Leslie says it works. It's great for doing your nails too.
Oh, well, okay, I'll take your word for it. Okay, anything else? All right, so we the holidays are coming up. We have some closures. We have some short hours between Christmas and New Year's, and then the first week in January we are closed for inventory. First time in 15 years. So please be aware of those times, those closures, and they are in the newsletter that was sent out on Wednesday. It'll be sent out again on Wednesday. So these closures are for our staff to enjoy their family. Inventory will, anyway, we will not be opening the door if you come knock on the door and we're trying to count. We have a blowout sale for fabric at the end of the month, which is starting on Thursday, the 29th, 30th, 31st. Oh, I got that right. 29th, 30th, 31st. Those are 3 days. Again, that was posted in the newsletter. If you're not getting our newsletter, you want to do that and sign up for it. We are on Facebook and Instagram. All right. That's all that I have today. Christmas, I'm sorry, we will not be having a Facebook Live, and New Year's. So we'll miss you for the next couple of weeks. So have a great holiday. Reach out to friends. Let them know that you don't want to be by yourself if that's what it is. Make contact with someone. Reach out. They'll be very glad that you did. And you can always come hang out at the store when we're open. We won't leave you alone.
Or we'll make you count inventory.
Oh, yeah, we could do that. All right. Thank you very much. Enjoy. Be creative.